Didn't say it clipped, but I bet it did. Hello everybody, and welcome, Potatoes returns to another episode of Let's Play Zeus, Master of Olympus. Today is the third in a trilogy of bonus videos that we're looking at the open play. So we did open play economic at Larissa, we just did open play military at Mount Malia. And now we're going to be going to so this video is going to be split in two halves. First is this open play sandbox at Olympia, which you've actually seen, or also, as I've been referring to it as, Zeus Labs. This is a place we've already seen, but I'm actually going to play through a bit on it here with you guys and show you that. Then there's also something else which we'll cut to later. This is some of the last content for base Zeus. Let's see what we have, and it's very simple. Open play sandbox. This land has everything you need to build to your heart's content. There are no goals to be met. Everything is up to you. Now, Steam says that throughout the course of this Let's Play, I have played about 100 hours now. I don't know how much of this I played when I was younger, but I have to say nearly all my time was on open play sandbox. So this is like the city as far as my memory is concerned. I don't know whether my previous gameplay was all the way up to 100 hours, but hey. So nearly all of the gods collaborated to make the land Olympia perfect. Demeter has made the land fertile so that livestock and farms can thrive. Athena and Dionysus made sure that olive trees and grapevines would be nourished by the soil. Artemis set loose some of her boar, and Poseidon stocked the waterways with fish. Even Hades touched the land, making sure that valuable ores rose to the surface. You are the luckiest of all mortals to be able to build a city on this land. Let's not do this on beginner here. Let's at least go to one of the regular difficulties here. So we'll play this on mortal. And let's say to the city. And let's have a quick tour before I show you what my big theme and my big idea here is, which I've been planning out for a while. Actually, just practicing some construction before we start off here. So welcome to Olympia. World map here. Let's have a look here. Sparta, which was a parent city, is available. Tiryns, which was a parent city, is available. Aulis, which was a parent city, is available. Then it's Delos, Miletos, and Elis starts as one of our colonies straight away. So there's a little of anything to do here. We got some allies, we have some rivals, we have a colony and a vassal. Miletos apparently is one of our vassals already. Cassiopeia has bent the knee to us apparently. Oh, Theseus is up here as well. So I don't know, it almost looks like they're doing all the parent cities, doesn't it? But then they don't quite go there. You'll notice the year here as well, by the way, is January 1000 BC. That was the same year that open play military was in. And I don't know, there's just a lot of weird things about the open play that to me it feels like they were kind of rushed in, and 1000 BC feels like they forgot to assign a date, to be honest. Like it's just such a round number, I don't know. But anyway, so here we go. So open play Olympia. The geography of Olympia is massive, broad, open fields. Look at all this free space here, all this free space. Down here, they've got like the introductory road showing you where traders and immigrants and stuff will come in. We have this amazing meadow right here, big enough for anything you could ever need. And if we look actually at our meadow-related industry, we have wheat. They didn't go with any kind of fancy food. See, I think there's a game engine limitation where they won't give you wheat and onions and carrots and stuff. I mentioned this on a recent video. Because surely at Olympia, they would have given us the lot. So they pick wheat because wheat, unlike onions and unlike carrots, wheat has a double use. Wheat is also used to feed horses. Again, this takes me to that weird thing. Wouldn't it be cool if in this game, right, there was not just horses for your cavalry? Maybe there's some kind of other animal you raise and you feed carrots that other animal. I don't know what it would, rabbits, pet rabbits, increase your house's capacity or happiness or something. I don't know. Do you get what I mean though? Like, it's weird that wheat has the double use and none of the other ones have a double use. You know, it'd be nice if different animals, and then maybe you can just supply different stuff to different people. Whatever. It's just, this is a really cool format of a game. And this is my only experience of, you know, because I didn't play the other ones of the series. I like to think in all the different ways it could be expanded. So then we also have grapevines, olive trees. So we have our own olive. We have not only our own carding, we also finally have dairies back. We haven't played with dairies for a long time. Dairies did appear, to tell you the truth, in one of the little open play economic colonies, I think. There's actually a cheat related to them that I've been wanting to show off for ages, so we might do that here or we might do that down the road. And then fishing and hunting, it's both here. Urchins are not. We have had a place where both fishing and urchins are available, so I don't know. I don't know why they didn't go whole hog and give us absolutely everything. For mythology, You get Zeus and Hades, but no Poseidon. I would have liked all three of them. So far, we've only seen one mission where that's a thing. That was at the end of Olympus, where you could have all three, but it was very tricky. You remember, for space, and you were locked out for a long time. There is another thing upcoming where you get all three of them. But, you know, you get some choice gods. I guess this is what they consider to be all the best. I don't know. Demeter's so useless, though. She's horrible to have fighting you, as we've now learned, but... to be honest, do we really need her when we've got all of this farmland? I'm not sure we do. And then anyway, so taking our tour of the map here, let's rotate our viewpoint. You have copper in this corner, nestled away in these mountains, with a quarry there, so you can produce all of your own bronze, marble. You can chop down your own trees, by the way. Timber mill is here. Look at this. Timber mill, masonry shop, mint, and foundry. And yeah, just a little spoiler there, the mint is hidden right up here on the northwest corner. So yeah, you have everything, and you could do a thing where there's like some little satellite stuff you could produce here, and then you feed your town like in each corner or something, I don't know. Now, I've played through quite a lot of this. If you come into this on Olympian difficulty, you get attacked by Sparta in mere moments, which is interesting. I like the idea of trying to fight them off with like your starting rabble. But usually when I'm here, like, showing you guys different housing block designs and weird tricks with the gameplay, I'm kind of skipping past the fact that Sparta is trying to kill us, you know, and we just bribe them away. I think because right now we're on mortal difficulty, they won't come for the throat too quickly. But yeah, okay, so... what are we going to build? Well, I have a very cool idea. I figure since we're back at the lab, let's do something related to housing blocks and techie stuff with getting as much as you possibly can out of your housing block. A new iteration. So, the figure of 8 was pretty amazing. That brought us, if I remember rightly, just to remind us all, it was 76 houses. It was either 76 or 74. When we actually ended up placing it down, it was down a little bit more because we lost some space to rocks and stuff. However, on this map, we have all of this space. And in fact, I think the most central, amazing open plateau we can build on is like here, to actually break a little bit of their path and to just build from here. Okay, so this is where I'm going to start because I want as much space as possible. So I'm going to show you guys a housing block design here now that is 89 houses. Way more than the previous one. And what's really nice about it is it's extremely compact. Now, here's the game, okay, with this. It's one set of services for as many houses as possible, generally speaking. I.e., one agora, one peddler, one guy pushes through, and he just throws food left and right at lightning speed, and that poor woman working back at the vendor place is constantly having to refill. So we're going all the way to our 89 houses. This is a block, for what it's worth. I'm basically copying wholesale from a post on the forums, which was from 2019. As far as this game's concerned, that's a pretty new block, okay? Like, that's very new. That's, like, super modern as far as I'm concerned. When it's done, it's going to give us 5,000 people all in one block, which I think is pretty fitting for Olympia here. So, the principle behind it, okay, since we've already squeezed out so much as we can, well, let's see if you guys have come to it already, because if you were paying close attention last time we were at the lab, then you may have something may have already occurred to you. So I talked to you guys about TikToking. And I mentioned that, you know, they'll run really far up here and they'll run really far down here. And there's actually an advantage of a line style, which is that houses don't actually need services every spawn of the walker. They only need services every other spawn, maybe even less. So when you do a block and they do the full loop every time, you're actually kind of losing value. And then I showed off the figure of 8 idea. Well, one of the advantages, because we wanted to look at blocks. Now, one of the advantages I mentioned of a block that the line apparently doesn't have is appeal. You know, if I create a circle here like this, and we imagine that there's houses around or whatever, and if I put a fish pond in the middle, we get to benefit from the appeal coming out here, this flank, this flank, this flank. If we have just a line with a bunch of houses on a line, then much less of it is being utilized, and, you know, we have to spend a lot more drachma and space to beautify all along all of the houses, you know, to succeed with our line. Well, one very simple solution to this that maybe some of you guys will have noticed, replay episode, and it's given me some houses here instantly. Isn't that weird? That's so strange. Those are from a previous... That's a little spoiler there. I don't know. That's really weird. Why are those there? They don't even have road to exist. Oh, there we go. Unpause and we can throw them away. How's my drachma doing? All right, well, whatever. Okay, so one very simple solution to that is, okay, well, WP, why don't we do a line? Let's say this is where our agora is going to be, here in the center. Why don't we draw a line and just fake a block. There's nothing stopping us from doing a line style, but folding it in. And now when we put our appeal in the middle, well, we get the advantage that blocks have as well, except we're still on the TikTok line idea, you know? You just don't need to fully connect it. And that's a brilliant observation to make. And in fact, I kind of actually showed this off last time. I said, you know, a lot of times we've been making blocks slightly too big, and they're essentially fake blocks, right? So that's what I kind of think of this as. It's a fake block that we're going to be playing with here. Now, the even cleverer among you might have realized if we're going to go for this idea of the fake block, because it's technically just 2 lines where the guy's going to go left and right, and we're faking folding a block. Well, if we've come this close, why don't we take advantage of the fact that we've come this close by creating a well, we've got a fish pond there, by creating a forced walker setup? See, the pieces of the puzzle are already here. We can have them exit down here. So the Agora is going to go left, then right, then left, then right. The water fountain and the infirmary, though, we can easily put them onto a forced walker setup here. You know, the road is technically wrong here. It would come round up like so. But we can easily do this, and we've kind of combined some old knowledge with this new idea. And by doing this, what we can say, right, is so far in the series, I've been drawing out lines of 27 length a piece, right? We've been going 27 long. I don't know what the drachma cost is here at this difficulty, because that's the distance that the water fountain and the infirmary will go. Just 27. Well, what if we do a block, and we've been wanting to do this for a while, that goes the max distance a peddler will go? A peddler will go 44, significantly further. So we are going to draw a perfect block here that lets the peddler leave the Agora, and he's going to walk 44 off on the left. And he's going to fold around. He's going to finish his route of 44. He's going to reach 2 away and we'll tag the houses on the corner. Then he's going to turn around and he's going to patrol back. And then he'll do the same. So 44 either side, terminating with an infirmary and a water fountain as the forced walker setup. So remember all that fiddling with an annex before? Well, by integrating these into the design of the path and the fake block, we don't need to worry about that. And that will create a giga block, a really, really amazing design. So that's the principle. It is very, very tricky. You may also be thinking about tax and culture, which kind of exists in that middle space. You might be thinking about maintenance as well, that also you can't actually force to walk. So how do we want to do those? Well, we will see here. So here's how I'm going to build it. And I've practiced this a few times, so hopefully I nail this straight away. The first thing I'm going to do, okay, because I've not actually measured the path out here. I've only measured the houses out. And I'm going to create myself some space around the outside of this design, because I want to do some other stuff as well with Olympia. So we are going to draw 90 drachma out, so 10 per piece of road, right? So that's 9 houses, okay? So we're going to do 9 houses there, and then we're going to have 9 houses up here as well. Which means I only spend 80 drachma because we already paid for this one in the corner. So 8 more houses on that side, and then we're going to do 8 more houses up here on this side and make sure that it's not offset or anything. So there you go. So with this, we have like the shell of the block, the actual start of the block. So I'm going to draw the road out, and we're going to wrap it around like so, just to sort of get us started. Now the Agora, eventually, we're going to put somewhere like down here, somewhere like really central, right in the middle. And what I want you guys to imagine is that the peddler, he's going to walk all the way along here, and then he's going to go back. And then he's going to come all the way up here, and he's going to go back. So, but we want to get the maths right. So here's what I'm going to do now. We've got to draw in the top. I'm going to start by putting a house here, slightly offset, because we'll have some avenue. And we're going to draw 4 houses. 1, 2, and we're going to make sure we're on pause, yeah? 3, 4. And do the same over here as well, but we'll go to 5. So 1, 2, 3, whoopsie. Not that one there. 4, 5. So 4 on this side, 5 on this, which gives us space for these two. And so they're going to come down into the middle here because the line's going to break here. We're going to do kind of like a U shape. So I could just put these houses in here, but actually, if we offset them like this, we can squeeze another house in later by using the corner trick. So these guys are going to want a bit of dummy road back there. And what I'm actually going to do is just extend the dummy road out all the way along so we have a nice satellite road. If there's any map I've got space to finally do a proper satellite road, it's going to be on this map here. So if we do that, then we can put a little bit of avenue along here and along here. Now, but for the inside of the U, what I'm going to do now is we're going to start drawing these down. So we've already got 1, so we're going to go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 all the way down. And same on the other side, but I'm going to leave a little bit of space for culture here, so just not these last 2 houses. So there you have it. So that's pretty much the block done because we can draw this road along and down. And that's about as far as the peddler will get. And then we can draw this one along and down. And this is about as far as it'll get here. Okay? So, before we do anything too complicated in the middle, let's fill in the last of our houses here. So we'll have a house here, we'll have a house here and here. And it's a little bit uneven. And by the way, this is an absolutely wicked, crazy, insane design we're doing here. I still don't know if it's perfect. Like, whenever I see, like, these little odd gaps, I always think to myself, oh, maybe there's a way to consolidate it and you can get another house in. You know, and it does strike me that people will probably keep learning stuff about Zeus for years to come. So anyway, we'll do those. Now, the houses down the flanks on the other side here. Well, okay, so we offset this slightly so we can put some avenue all the way along. And we can put some avenue all the way along. And we're actually onto the meadow here a little bit. But that's still, I think, in the interest of having as much space around this block as I can, I think being on the avenue there is a little bit, is fine. So now we can draw the flanks. Well, once again, if we offset, so here this is probably slightly too long here. If we offset there, we can come along. And then here we can offset and we can come along. So this is a lot of houses already. A huge amount of houses. Now, believe it or not, because of the corner trick, we can even go way off into the distance up here and way off into the distance up here. This house and this house will be serviced. However, if you guys remember from other playthroughs, when we've done really distant corner tricks, sometimes the ones on the very edges can catch on fire. So I can put a maintenance post up here. He's going to wander up and down that. That, to me, technically is not a part of the block. So I don't think that counts against the block. But this is exactly that thing where I can get 2 houses here for 120 population for the price of 5 employees just coming up and down here. So I'm going to take that. You know, if you guys think that that breaks the rules of doing an amazing housing block with like only 1 of each service, you know, whatever you like. But the truth is we're not going to be doing 1 of each service anyway. We're only doing 1 agora. Because this is a line design, what we essentially have is a low road which needs its stuff and an upper road which needs its stuff. So to that end, if I count 1, 2, 3 houses here, I'm going to have a maintenance post for the upper road, okay? And down here, actually, right on the corner... So, by the way, as far as the corner trick's concerned, this is also a house. So is this. And you might think, fuck me, that's really far away. How is that possibly a house? It is, I'll put the road down for that in a second. Hopefully it doesn't decay in the meantime. But anyway, right here on the corner, this is going to be a tax office. For now, I guess I'll just put it as a watch post since we don't have a palace. And I want to do a good fortress palace here. If we're going to do it on any map, it's going to be this one. Okay, so there you go. So we get a watch post there. So, sorry, a tax office. So this will be tax for the upper road. And we still need to figure out this stuff on the lower road. But let's work on the middle now. Okay, the forced walker trick. Well, let's start with culture, okay? So I'm going to bring down the road so that whatever building we put there is fine. We'll draw it along. So we know gyms are really OP. I'm going to draw a gym here at the end of the road. And what this means is that these guys, these strongmen, are going to come out and they're going to service here. They won't actually get that far, to tell you the truth, because they're not peddlers, right? All these houses down here, actually, they're not really... The gym isn't actually going to get to them, but I have a special trick to do with a stadium to fix that, so don't you guys worry. Anyway, that's the upper road gym, and then we're going to have a lower road gym down here as well, and this will service most of these. So that's one piece of culture. The second piece is the global buff from the stadium. The third piece, we could do drama or philosophy. Philosophy is clearly better, because drama has the massive theatre, which is terrible. And philosophy just has the little podium. So let's put a podium for the upper road. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, we're going to put a podium for the lower road, except hold on. Because the podium is smaller. But if you look here, the way that I've ended up laying this out is we have a 3x3 spot here anyway. We don't actually gain anything on any of this by putting a podium down. There's going to be space for something else. So instead, what if we make it a college? Now, what's really clever about putting a college there is the philosophers that leave this college to service the podium, they are going to do the entire snake's dance to get to the podium, and people instantly, just from the college, because the college as a feeder, they will have that piece of culture. It actually doesn't even matter that this podium sends someone out that will wander around. He's irrelevant, totally irrelevant, because we've been clever about the position of the college here by not getting tricked and always thinking, well, colleges should be outside of the block. That saves space. Actually having a college inside the block, even though it costs a little bit of space, is really innovative and really clever. So that's fantastic. So that's culture done now. They're going to have all the culture that they need, except these houses, but we'll deal with that in a second. So then we want health. Right, the Force Walker trick, and it's kind of all just lined itself up for us now. If I put an infirmary here, well, here, this is a very northern point for the infirmary. So if they can... We're not using true north for the infirmary. That's a house on this setup. But the most northern spot is here. So they're always going to want to go home here. So how about we just take the road and connect it? So the road ends at the infirmary. So when you are the infirmary, north, east, south, okay, you're going to leave from here. You're always going to leave from here first. You're going to spawn. When you decide you want to go home, you're going to want to go to the most northerly place that's filled, which is there. So you're going to go all the way around. So that's the infirmary done for free almost, you know, just by putting the roads down. And then if we put a water fountain here, well, the water fountain is done too. If we give it some path here. Now, there's a temptation to do path like that. Bad idea, though. What we could do instead, because we know that it gives us a little bit of appeal, and because they teleport over it, is we could do a tiny bit of avenue there. And this now means that the water carrier will work. He's going to spawn down here, a very southerly point, and when he decides to go home, he's going to look at... True North, again, is not being covered. True North is actually obstructed by the infirmary, but it doesn't matter, because the next best thing is available for him. So he goes down. So we have two Force Walkers. We've now extended the distance of the water carrier and the infirmary guy, and we have max length pedaling. So that's the bulk of the setup here. So what we now have space for is another tax office, which I'll put down as a watch post, I guess, for now. We have the question of maintenance. So we already serviced maintenance on the high road. We have a tiny bit of space, that last tile, for maintenance on the low road. And believe me, guys, this is magical to watch in action. You'll watch this maintenance guy. He's going to come around like literally here and then go back. And then this guy's going to come around. Well, actually, he overlaps it. To tell you the truth, this is like version 2 of the block. And I practiced and learned how to build version 1. I sat here for like half an hour practicing, like, so that it could be nice and smooth on the video. And then I scrolled down a bit on the forum, and I realized that the guy had done another version that had taken it from like 85 houses to 89 or something. And I realized I'd have to relearn the whole thing. On the previous one, the maintenance men look really good, but it was less houses, so hey. So there you go. So that's the bulk of it. Now, the other very neat little thing about this, I believe... Kraken was trying to make this as symmetrical as possible, but could never quite nail it. Anyway, a part of his symmetry was monuments in all the corners where we have these spaces. So I'm putting hedge mazes in because we don't have any monuments yet, but imagine that that's a monument. Imagine that's a monument. We have space up here. We have space up here. And then there's a little bit of a gap here for some Doric column. There's a little bit of gap down there for some Doric column with the maintenance post as well. But hedge mazes for now. And if you think about it, guys, look at how efficient this is. Remember that they throw appeal 7 away? This monument is going to tag all these guys in a beautiful, glorious radius. This monument is going to tag all these guys. This one, these guys. This one, these guys. We don't even have much avenue. You don't need to surround this with park. You don't need to surround it with column. It's done. With just this little upfront cost of space and of drachma. Speaking of being done, some space for houses there. Some space for houses here. And we can avenue. A cheaper way to do this would be shift the houses in and have column behind them or something, or park behind them. But I believe this is stronger appeal, and it's more efficient, isn't it? It's great. So that leaves us now with the bottom. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to count 1 house, 2 house, 3 house, 4 houses. We will build our road out of the block, like so, with a cheeky little roadblock. The agora, the capstone of the whole thing goes in, and then we'll draw houses on the other side. Now, because we put this path here, it's obviously going to be offset, which is, a lot of my designs have kept having this issue. I don't know what to utilize that for, so we can just put some Doric column or whatever down there. And now you'll notice we've got a nice long path here that we could boulevard or avenue or... Oh, wait. I guess we do it this way. Actually, to be honest, we could save the money, because I don't think it's really necessary. We can build it out like this, and we can just say avenue along here. So now we've got a nice entry point as well, where what we can do is we can have our granary. So we'll put the food vendor right here. And the granary, all he has to do is walk along, all she has to do, sorry, is walk along. And we want the granaries like right got down there. So I'm actually going to do a double granary setup since this is so many people. This will just be a little bit more stable, right? So these are both going to be getting. And I know what you're thinking, employment and stuff, but don't worry, guys. We get so much employment. Look at all these houses. This thing looks so good once it's evolved, seriously. And similarly here, so these granaries will want maintenance and a storehouse that we have. Again, they take so little fleece and olive oil. Despite the fact this is a gigas block, a single storage bay with just the 16 and 16 is plenty. They will never struggle, okay? But the two granaries here, you can see how... You know, I think I started this LP with doing, like, loads of storehouses and one granary, and now you can see we're actually doing the inverse of that. Anyway, these guys all want maintenance. Remember what I said about these top two most remote corner trick guys needing... that they have a chance to catch fire? By the way, you could build the Forge of Hephaestus, and in fact, is it here in the town? Ah, he's not here. If you built Hephaestus, then you don't need to provide maintenance to any houses because they only ever catch fire. They don't break. So, yeah, anyway, these two likewise can catch fire. But since they're on the distribution area, it doesn't matter. So, yeah, super close distribution for everyone and everything there. That's the block. Now, I'm going to save Olympus... Sorry, is it Olympus? No, it's Olympia, isn't it? It's not Olympus. It's not literally Olympus. Olympia begins... And, well, so what do? Do we play it through straight away, I guess, and just watch everybody come on in? I suppose we do. I'm going to kill this road here as well. And you'll see by where I've built it. See, we're still over a little bit. What I want to do for this town is I want to have this most insane housing block here in the center. And then I want to surround it on each corner. I want to do, like, corner housing blocks around it. 4 of them around it. Basically, guys, here's the thing. I think the most population you've seen in this Let's Play so far is 9,000. Now, I could just copy this design on the left or somewhere on the right, and we'd be at 10k straight away. I want this to be our most popular city. People think we're the cat's meow. I think this design is the cat's meow. Oh, and it's so nice when it's done and you just turn on, like, you know, Sea Philosophers and you just watch it go. Look at this. Look at this is just a construction site for now, but believe me, it'll start looking really good very soon. So in they go. And again, it's very claustrophobic. You might imagine it being very claustrophobic in the very center. But I even love this, right? Like, the infirmary in the very middle kind of sucks a bit, I guess. But having a fountain which emits a bit of appeal in the middle, oh, so nice. A tax office in the middle as well. You know, I think we could shift this tax office. But there's a chance that the peddler, that when the peddler comes around, he might only get here and he tags that guy via the corner. So swapping this for a house might not be viable, you know. I think the peddler's going to just about reach some of these distant guys. And so this is a free spot for, you know, tax or whatever that we might like here. Yeah, just to be clear here, let's see our water once they get working away in a second. I assume they'll leave and start traveling around. There we go, no. There we go, there, off they go. Hello.
It's certainly hard to practice Epicureanism in this city. What I wouldn't give for a plate of food.
What is Epicureanism? Oh my god. Comment, please. Or Black and White WP can do it. I don't know. Okay, here's what I can make out from Wiki real briefly. There was this guy called Epicurus. Technically, he wasn't alive in 1000 BCE. He was alive in 307 BCE. So these are some time-traveling philosophers that we have in this game. But Epicurus, basically, he was like a religious skeptist. He was what they call an atomist. And essentially, he advocated for people living very simple lives. He thought that we should seek modest, sustainable pleasure. I'm quoting from Wiki here. Sustainable pleasure in the form of a state of what he called ataraxia. And ataraxia is basically just tranquility that is earned through no longer feeling fear. And aponia, which is the absence of bodily pain. So this guy and all the followers of Epicurus had like this belief about how to live and how to be happy. And they withdrew politically from Greece and kind of receded because they felt that engaging politically could cause you to become frustrated. Like there was too much conflict there and it wasn't what would lead to a peaceful mind. To put it in a modern day context or understanding in one word, I would say these guys are all about being zen. Just don't experience any discomfort in your moment to moment, and that's true peace. It's kind of a selfish, inward, almost like hedonist way of looking at the world and living. But Wiki specifically says this isn't like true hedonism, I guess. I don't know why. So it's quite a good joke, actually, here from Impressions. The guy is starving, but he's an Epicurist, and he's desperate to maintain his peace. But I'm not giving him any food. Sorry. As a weird but semi-serious note, I do love this stuff, you know, like, it's really easy to think about people from the past, even just like 100 years ago, as not as complete as us, or not as deep as us, or they don't feel or think as much as we do. I think that's actually a line at the very start of the movie Troy, which kind of resonated with me as well. It's easy to diminish them, but then you read how, like, careful people were, and how deeply they did think about the world thousands of years ago, and I can see why people fall in love with ancient history.
Pick up your side. I'm doing all the work.
I'm doing my best. I'm so hungry.
Well, so am I, but I'm not complaining.
All right, yeah, they want food. Anyway, so yeah, watch. We'll see them do one cycle. And do you know what? For the first bit... No, that's not. I was going to say we could beg for a bit of food, but it's just going to run out instantly. It's like so fast it's going to run out. So here, they're walking around. Normally they would have turned around already, but no, they're happy to continue going. And let's turn the game speed up a little bit here. And you see... Oh, that's interesting that they lost water on that first turn through. Oh, I think that's because no one had moved into these interior houses before. But there you go. They service the whole block. And there's really very little risk. This guy's water is draining just a bit. He's the most at risk of dehydrating, but they come out. So you get a little bit of leeway, and that will be the same for basically all of their commodities here. Who else might we like to watch here? Let's watch culture. Let's see philosophy. So here you can see one of these guys is the roamer who just comes up and goes back. So these guys get like double philosophy, which is irrelevant. You know, it doesn't really mean anything. But this other guy was from the college. And if you watch again, he's doing the same thing as our forced walkers, right? He's going all the way along. Here, they're losing it a bit, and then here he is. So he'll service all of their stuff. Lovely jubbly. Now, I don't want to get too much unrest because everybody's starving. And I don't want to get plague as well, because there is actually some risk of being unhealthy here. So, I want space for more houses. Like, in the meadow, it's going to be. So, what we have to do is build over here, which is a bit unfortunate. But what are you going to do? And I'm going to go with dairies, because dairies are fun, and we haven't seen any for ages. And what I'd like to do is a pen for all of the goats, and then a pen for all of the sheep that we'll be having as well. I think that'll be awesome. So, but we want a lot of dairies here. And we have the excess employment. So let's say a maintenance officer on the end. Oh, but they're going to want roads out as well. Ugh, I don't like it. Oh, well, we left them some roads out. Hold on. So it's only these ones along here that were bad. So I like the 2 and 2 setup, you know. So we say dairy, 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 dairy. And we'll build the goats. Do you know what, guys? Actually, I guess I'm just building now. I guess this now becomes the super speed section. So I'm going to build the town. And you can slowly watch this all evolve. And you'll have post-commentary me as it goes along. And yeah, I'll figure out the palace and stuff. Or rather, watching the city being built quickly, as it were, since we'll be on super speed here. Talking about zen, oh my god, I got really zen in this build session. This was incredibly chill. There's no nasty surprises. Well, there's one mildly nasty surprise, but nothing that bad. This is just the ultimate free build, happy place for Zeus if you just want to relax and do, you know, whatever you want and be a little bit creative. So I open up with a couple of fisheries on the lake up above, as you saw. Then I go for some dairies, and I know we're going to want heaps of food. We're going to want crazy amounts of food just for the block, but then I am planning on expanding the block, having other blocks around the block, so that we can get our monstrous 10,000 population, which is kind of the big goal here. We have this meadow that we're already built on, but I know a bunch of the space is earmarked for other houses. So I build the dairies right down here on the most southwesterly corner of the meadow that I possibly can. And I wanted to do this thing with pens as well, where we have goats in one pen, sheep in the other pen. So I think, all right, well, I'll make one pen down here. This turns out to be near the entrance of the city. So let's have a fancy entrance to the city again. We haven't done this for a while, shall we? So I decided to boulevard, splash some park around, a couple of gazebos. and then columns along the outside. So what this actually means, this is a bit like, you know, one of my favorite things we've done is the Agora entrance. This is a bit like the Agora entrance, except this time we're telling everyone who ever comes here to go through a field of goats, which is just brilliant. You know, a field of sheep would be one thing, but goats are even worse, aren't they? Oh yeah, also some goats are going to escape from that pen because I put some park down. But yeah, and the fishing again, because obviously I forgot to put that maintenance post, that guy there. And again, all the roads kind of have to connect far away from the houses, because I'm really panicking that I don't really know how I'm going to do the blocks around the big block. Am I going to do, like, corner blocks? Am I going to do 4 regular blocks? Am I going to do... I mean, what am I going to do here? So I'm not sure. Here you'll see we've got plague. Now, I'm pretty sure from this, we've speculated about it a couple of times. And in fact, I alluded to it just a second ago in the commentary. I'm pretty sure if they don't have food, their susceptibility to illness goes way up, which is an interesting mechanic in the game that almost never means anything. Because unless you're doing a crazy mega build like this, you're going to give them food real fast, regardless. So, and here we got a bit of a path on the inside. I decided to go around the north, though. I like that effect. And the other, it's also a non-mechanic, because the only time it's ever really going to happen is when you're in the very early stages of building, where the plague isn't even really that bad, you know, because it doesn't take that much employment away from you. At the end of the day, if they lose food later, the prominent thing is that they're going to devolve. Oh, here we have to, and the devolution will knock you out anyway, so it's kind of cool to be able to see that. Here we see the roadblock method, and I finally realize why the roadblock method works. So you saw it for a brief second there. If imagine you're the goat and you're surrounded by roadblocks, you're not allowed to... How do you pathfind out? You can't pathfind anywhere. You can only stand still in the middle. If the middle then also becomes a roadblock, nothing is... You're not valid where you're standing, and you have nowhere valid to go. So the game just terminates the unit because it doesn't know what to do, and it doesn't want to keep calculating that. That's why they die. That's why the roadblocks kill them, and yeah, you do want to surround them as well at the same time. So here we do carding now. Obviously, fleece is going to be our next commodity. I set food up first. And then we'll run with this. Roadblocks for the pens, for the livestock, are just excellent, right? Like, it looks way cleaner and way nicer. I do like the random olive tree or bit of grapevine, but you'll see the entrance I put on that pen doesn't even have any meadow at its base. You know, most of these pens is not meadow. And I thought the livestock would wander onto them, but they don't seem to want to. They seem to just stay only on the meadow pieces, even when they have an entire pen available, which was not something I realized. There is a big advantage to building all these houses right on the meadow, and that is that when we're done, you're going to see we have all these amazing townhouses, and in their backyard are a bunch of goats and things, which you'd think is industry and you'd think is terrible, but is actually not. And it works perfectly fine. So here we're looking at the Agora worker, and if you look, the extent of his path does not quite reach these most interior houses. He is using the corner trick to this is how efficient this design is. Look at how far he gets. Oh, and he just turns around. He doesn't even seem to go very close to those final houses. Which, yeah, is why we have a tax office and stuff in the very middle. Everything terminates at the water fountain and the infirmary and stuff. So there are quests on this. Here we get the Golden Fleece again. Comes up so often. So this is going to be Theseus, who's going to want to live near the palace, and I'm about to build the palace, so we can build it all together. You are going to see the best palace/fortress that you've seen in the series at this town. It is unbelievably cool. However, because this is also free and easy, no one's going to attack it, which is probably why I'm still so happy with it. But yeah, you guys will see some good stuff. I guess I also don't station any horses there. So then I get a fire here. Now, I'm thinking to myself, oh, maybe that's because they're made of wood. I didn't evolve them enough. Maybe they have higher susceptibility to plague with low food and higher susceptibility to fire with wooden houses, the low tier of evolution for the houses. So, because I have been very slow with evolving these guys here. So I decided to get them up to the olive oil level, and you'll notice the bottom row is still wooden. So this is because the bottom row doesn't have the culture. We'll return to that topic of the fire in a second, don't you guys worry. So here's how we fix the culture. We put the stadium near the granaries and the storehouse. Now imagine, if you are a competitor, if you're at a gym and you want to get to the stadium, you're on one of those internal gyms in the middle of the housing block, well, what are you going to do? You're going to worm your way all the way around and outside of the housing block to reach the stadium, and you will provide that final piece of culture. And in fact, you can see there, it's already happened. All the culture on those bottom row houses, they've all evolved now. So the stadium fixes everyone by giving the global buff, and I think I take some time here. Here, watch these guys. Look, the competitors will roam out from the gyms to the Colosseum. We also get this bonus competitor who is roaming out from the stadium. I wasn't quite clear on this before. But yeah, so it seems the stadium itself does also send a walker out. Hence my confusion from earlier in the Let's Play. You both get walkers going from gyms to stadiums, and the stadium himself will send out a guy to just wander around, a bit like a podium or whatever. But we're not putting houses there or taking advantage of it. So, palace construction. Now, this is pretty badass. That Heroes Hall is close enough to the palace right now to count. So I'm thinking to myself, oh, this is great. We can give them their own little bay. We can have like a little area where the invading army has to fight through our hero. And then there's a whole other bay for the palace. Except when I shifted it over to give him his boulevard the whole way around to solve the appeal issue, he now was too far away. So he has to be right up against that wall. But there, that simple setup you're looking at right now, a bit of boulevard around him, and with the wall there as well. That is good. He has the high appeal, and he is close to the palace. And surrounding him by walls is easy enough. We could actually just surround him by walls. I've mentioned this trick. I haven't demonstrated it. With just column. You don't even need actual walls. Cliffs, anything you like. But it's got this weird thing where the column will now mess up the AI when he comes in and stuff. So you want to be a little bit careful of it. But there you go. So with that done, I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to make an amazing labyrinth. Look at how good this is, right? What we're going to have is a courtyard here. This will be the final courtyard. This is where we'll station our cavalry and, any horsemen that we want to have fight with us. Here's the god roaming through. By the way, it looks like the gods don't go through gatehouses, so this is a downside to this. Any god that goes to your palace is just going to spin around for no reason there. I give them a bit of appeal. I give them their interior maintenance so that the palace doesn't collapse. Then we have this wall. I get the gatehouse on the very side. Basically, I want to worm the enemies around as much as possible. Bunch of watch posts. Look at all these guards roaming around in there. I know they're weak units, but doesn't that look good? So, minor spoilers for in a second. God's going to attack and rip through a bunch of this stuff, which is going to mildly annoy me. And I assumed that god broke all the watch posts, but looking back now here, actually, I see I messed up. The maintenance post doesn't have access to the road. So that's why the watch posts are going to break later. It's not actually a god. But nonetheless, I still think it's a really good effect. Now we get another fire. Okay, so I realize that it's not a wooden house mechanic. It must be something else. And I wonder if I put the maintenance post in the wrong spot. Like, he needs to be shifted over by one to get to the inside. But then I realize, oh no, everything's breaking. It's because of this bonus road I put down. I put that road along the side there so that the fish could get delivered from those fisheries that are really far up. And because I connected it, the maintenance man for the entire upper row was not doing anything. So we had this ridiculous, insane, like hyper-dense housing complex with no maintenance on half of it. Now, if you're ever going to see a great fire, it would be here. So I, in an attempt to stop the disaster, I kind of watch it through here. And I start ripping houses out, putting bonus maintenance posts down. Because look, the fire's managed to spread to the low road here now as well. And there's nothing for it really, but us just to sort of wait, play it through, delete the stuff, babysit it for a while. This got me thinking, it would be really cool if in this game there was, like I was talking before about how there should be plague outbreak, even if you have good health, just as something to happen sometimes. I realized I kind of want something like that with maintenance posts and fires as well. And so here we got this amazing courtyard, similar situation. This maintenance post will actually work though. But what I think it should be, right, is regular maintenance guys should just stop buildings from collapsing. But there's always a risk of fire. And there should be another building for that. Like, again, it's like what I was talking about with watch posts as well, with criminals. Maybe criminals should always be, and you just dot a couple of watch posts around. We should have like an emergency services building. I guess I'm talking about like a fire service right now, right? But, maybe they could respond to some other issues that might come up as well. That way, you may still have the occasional fire that bursts out. And you need to see, okay, do my emergency services guys, are they close enough? Maybe it's one building, but lots of employment and expensive to place. So you are tempted as the player to skimp on it. You're tempted as the player to not put too many of them around. But it's a good idea too. And here I flanked the gatehouse with 4 watch posts on that one, which I think is the best version of it there, with the road going between them. So, yeah, anyway, that was a little thought I had about fires. Finally, 3 thick wall as well, like actually properly designed for and accounted for. I've gone with 3 thick wall because I'm not sure if an invading army is just going to look at that and just try to barrel through instead of going through all the gatehouses. So if I make the exterior wall 3 thick and the interior walls 2 thick... Oh, look there, the god did actually go through the gatehouse. So they'll still be stuck in the labyrinth, but whatever. They do actually seem to go through them, so that's good. But yeah, maybe if the outside is 3 thick, that will encourage the enemies to go through the whole path that I set up for them. Dotting towers around as well, and there you go. So that was the fortress. Pretty goddamn cool, right? Next little project is to... just get some more industry. I want this town to have every form of industry since it's available. I want to do like a mega town with a high population and lots of industry. You might also think, well, what about elite housing and what about mythology? So I played this for 2 hours. And I was very zen and very relaxed. I mean, really. It's actually storming outside again, like horrible, just terrible storm. And I sort of had a moment about an hour and a half into this where I realized... Man, I'm just so chill. Nearly always when I'm playing games now, there'll be like PvP games or games where I'm going for achievements and have specific goals in mind all the time. Actually just sitting there playing something super relaxed. There you can see I messed up that maintenance post, by the way. I haven't done for ages, and I realize you're looking at it now. This is exactly the experience I was having. So, yeah, I got 2 hours in, and I thought, well, that's actually quite a lot of city building, and the montage is going to be going on for a really long time. And after the 2 hours, I still hadn't gotten to the point of elite houses or mythology. And in fact, I'd had so much space, I wasn't even thinking about them, to be honest, guys. And I spread the city out so much, we kind of didn't have space for them in the end. I could have built them fairly quick, the mythology, I guess. But again, where would I have put them? So you'll see this unfold. So this town, in many ways, is going to be the ultimate town. But in other ways, I've fallen shy, I'm afraid. Over here at the fortress, you'll see a bunch of stuff's been destroyed. That's because of the god invasion. And you notice it happened really quickly after I built the place. And a bunch of walls got destroyed. And based on my experience just now in the other open plays, I thought, you know what? I'm not going to bother. I'll make sure the paths are fixed. And I'll just leave it a bit broken. Which turns out to be a mistake. Because I think, guys, that's the only god invasion I suffered this entire time. All 2 hours. That was it. So I could have just fixed it up and we would have been fine. So there we go, we got some wine, well we have grapes and we have an olive industry. You notice how I sprinkled the olive presses closer towards the housing block. I did also consider putting, storage really close, but again, I don't know what I'm going to do for the houses over there just yet, the exterior houses. So I kind of just create these quick back roads and then move off to the top left of the map where there's no meadow I want to use. But there are also wolves, so I'm going to build little towers to fight the wolves, but the towers need a path to the palace. So there I was repairing the palace a little bit just to get these towers down. Oh yeah, right, okay, because we actually went in debt. You remember how I forgot to I wasn't taxing people, we just had watch posts? Well, that really cost us a lot of money. So I've now started taxing people. And I thought, well, there's silver ore-bearing rock, as they call it, up here on the very top left. Let's mint our own drachma. By the way, was Greek coinage, ancient Greek coinage, actually in silver? That's quite interesting, isn't it? Then I started thinking, well, how else can we get money? Well, we're going to be setting up all these industries. How about we start selling things? And, we have a vassal, we have a colony, we have a couple of allies. And I thought, okay, we got this amazing fortress. What if it's like a trade palace? That's what I now like the idea of. I want all the trade, because right now this feels like a remote, weird area of the town because it's nowhere near the housing block. So in this way, we have a ton of activity over at the palace because all the traders are going to be going there. We have a lot of storage over there. And we have a ton of activity in that other area with the housing block. So in that way, I've kind of brought life to 2 very different areas of the map. Well, that was the idea anyway. And also, I just realized we had that really long road in front of the palace that would suit a bunch of trading posts in front of it super well. There I am fixing the olive presses maintenance, which I'd already rebuilt. I actually messed up twice in a row. Some more courtyards. So I think, okay, well, we've got mints here. How about let's start doing some timbering, some timber mills. And I thought they'd be harvesting from the north of the map. They actually end up start chopping trees down really close to the fortress here. Look at this. They come down very close. And here we are. I'm patching things up just a little bit more, but not the watch posts, which I should have. Now that I realise it was just a maintenance issue. There is the question of connecting the trades to everything else. So there's a road through a marsh for that, which I actually quite like as well. So if you come to visit Olympia and you're a trader or you want to go to the palace for whatever reason, they should have like dignitary walkers and ambassadors and diplomats that go to the palace, right? Anyway, if you're going to do that, then you're going to be walking through a marsh. If you want to go to the houses, then you're going to be walking through all this livestock. And then I figure, okay, well, all along this road, well, we have the quarry in the bottom left of the map. So let's get some marble going. The fun thing I did about this... First, I think Doric columns around the quarries are really, really cool. I probably do a bit too much Doric column in this build. Oh, yeah, and there was some more boar here as well, so I threw some random hunter soldiers there. I thought, okay, you get a lot of marble, right? You get insane amounts of marble, and you need insane amounts of marble. So as far as storage bay, cool-looking storage bays are concerned, we haven't done this yet. Let's do a 2x2. So there's 4 in there. There's a nice big giant square, and they're all going to fill with marble, and they're all going to be framed by a big, beautiful, massive column section there. The only issue with that column ring that I just built is I actually just cut off their access to the quarry. So I've got all those guys employed, but they're not going to do anything for like the next 15 minutes or so until I notice that I cut them off. Actually, maybe even longer. There may be like a full 30 to 40 minute stretch of this build where they could have been doing stuff, should have been doing stuff, and they aren't. So anyway, so here we go. So I finally bring a road down for our olive oil because I do want to... We get into the big moment in a minute here where this town block is going to evolve. And I've dared to put it quite close because I know that this new housing block is actually not going to be that far out. In fact, I've got a theory. My theory is to do... instead of a block design, we're going to do roads. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have an agora in the corner and then just have one long road going down each flank of the housing block. So in the top left corner, there'll be an agora and 2 roads that service those 2 lengths of the square of the mega block. And then we'll have another agora in the other corner doing the same thing. That's my idea. And if that doesn't make any sense to you guys just yet, don't worry, it will very soon. But because I'm doing roads, like long line, I'm going to do TikToking long lines, basically, with the peddlers. And because of that, I know it's not going to be a block, so actually we can build quite close. This is also why, eventually, there's going to be people whose back gardens extend straight out into the goats. I was looking at this fish node here, and it is possible with this amazing setup. Look at that. Water crossing directly onto the fishery. There is no path onto that fishery, but the water crossing itself counts as path, so it gets employment. That's a very fringe little mechanic you just saw there, and we're using it to great effect. We're using it to harvest what looked like it might have been an impossible fish node, but it's not. I swear you can get all of them in the game, except that goddamn one in... what was it? I think it was Eolcus. I'm pretty sure it was Eolcus. So I see here that these guys have max meat and they're actually not hunting the boar that are local, probably because their storage guys are on these incredibly long roads. Consider putting a granary there, but decide against it. The next bit of industry, because again, we're trying to get them all, is foundries for bronze. So that's going to be a bronze storehouse right there. Obviously, it's more efficient to move the bronze further along. Near to where you want it, but since I don't really know what I'm doing with sculptures, I don't know what I'm doing with armor and stuff for now anyway, I just think screw it. So here we're gonna have one bay that's gonna end up filled with armor. We're gonna have another bay that ends up filled with sculpture. We're gonna have a third bay over there, which is not beautified because it's just, you know, the first tier material with bronze. And man, I really like my building here. Look at how good this is. This little T with these 2. You can see how just relaxed I was. And then, so yeah, so we have 3 armories, 3 sculpture studios. And the thing is, because this is all so free and relaxed, I'm just going to look away from that. And I know that the next time I look at it, everything's going to be full and it's going to be incredible. So there we go. So olive oil comes on in. We now have our stockpile. And here is the beautiful moment. I slowed the game speed way down so that we could look at this here in near real time. And as he goes through, he's at the agora now. Now he's doing the low road. And oh my lord, look at all the evolution. This is so good. Now, this isn't going to go all the way, obviously, because... And there you go. He just... Look at how he tags those last guys as he turns around. Because they're not going to have the appeal that they need. Right now, we only have hedge mazes for them. And I actually think the hedge mazes surrounded by the roofs of all the townhouses look super good. Oh, do you know what I never mentioned in commentary last time, by the way? I never mentioned when we had towers among the townhouses how, like, the roofs all came up to one another. It is a pretty good effect. It was in the middle of a bunch of super speed, though, so you might not have seen it. So, yeah, anyway, we need more monuments, but I figure I'll let them evolve as much as they can first. We'll make sure food and everything is stable, and then we'll go again. One final pier there. Now, that pier I just placed sells wine, but the wine is produced on the other shore. I put the pier there because I wanted it near the fortress because of this whole idea of a trading fortress. But I thought, you know what, let's just do it on this because the only thing we're going to do is sell wine here. Oh yeah, and this was very weird. One sculpture studio broke. I guess the guy just wasn't doing his job, so I added a maintenance post. So yeah, unfortunately putting a pier down means we had to replace a bunch of weird stuff going on here. But we can still squeeze in the 2 fisheries plus the pier for like that cool looking dock effect. Give them all some column. I actually don't like that column on the bottom right. I think that looks a bit rubbish. And I'm hoping that maintenance man can do that route. In fact, you can see he's kind of looking like he's doing it. He's actually not, though. He can't get all the way across the water crossing, so that's going to break in a little bit. But there you go. So we have wine exports now. We have loads of tax. Believe it or not, at this difficulty scale and doing this like mega block, where we have all this employment overhead and stuff, we're actually fine for money. We are on infinite money already now, if enough time as long as we have infinite time, we have infinite money. It's going to keep on going up and up and up, just from selling wine and taxing our people at a normal tax rate as well. Now, isn't that crazy? So then we have triremes, and I realised, well, we chop down our own wood, we make our own armour. Both are actually kind of nearby on that shoreline. So let's put triremes down, and then they can patrol up and down. The triremes actually get stopped. Oh, here we go. Here's the evolution. Ready? Oh my god, I did this really slow in real time. Honestly, I did that very slow in real time so that you could see the effects of each individual monument going down. And it just seems to have zipped through here. So we're out of monuments, which is really weird. You know how I said I practiced that build before making this video? I always had enough monuments instantly, but I guess we've been unlucky at the games this time. So we're lacking one. To be honest, I did like 2 population, 1 happiness monument there. I think the best way would be all of them to be population monuments. But I didn't have enough, and I couldn't wait, guys. I couldn't wait. I just had to see it. So then, so we're back over here with wheat. This is essentially the last industry now. Wheat. I already actually put a random wheat farm down on the other side of the map just to have fun earlier. But wheat and horses. Horses which will not be distributed to anyone, as it so happens. But there you go. There's our last monument there now. We actually got to do it once. And there you go. You got the whole town, the whole housing block. Complete. 5,000 people. Look at that. 5,200. With probably a couple more moving in. The game now is to make this even bigger by surrounding it with other housing blocks, which, as I said, I'm going to do in the line style. So, step 1, beautify. Just so that there's that buffer place. I don't know whether it even needs the beautification. You could maybe round them right against each other, but I've opted not to do that. So, I've gone with gazebos, columns, parks, and with the columns on the inside on one side and the parks on the inside on the other. Different styles of columns around as well. And so here, see, look, we're going to have this long line that comes up. It's all going to be boulevard. So their beauty will be fine. Agora in the corner. So the Agora is going to go down one road, and then he's going to come back, and then he's going to come down this road, and he's going to come back. And I know that generally this is the extent the Agora walker will walk to, because we know the interior guy, while folded up, will get that same distance. Like, the maths should generally just work out here. And I'm kind of just going on gut instinct that the maths will work out, but it totally does. Like, about as far as the Agora will walk is the length of these edges here. So then so the original plan actually was to do this on all 4 corners. You know, 2 corners will have Agoras, all 4 are going to have an extra line. But we have the stadium and stuff already on the south flank. So instead of and if the stadium does anything too weird, we are screwed. So I decide not to move the stadium. I decide that the south flank will not have this extra road. But it's okay, because if the maths works out, we will hopefully get to the 10,000 population anyway. I'm actually not totally sure whether we will. You know, this might be too few houses, so we'll see. But there you go. So an extra Agora in each of the top 2 corners, basically. Our viewpoint is rotated, obviously, here. This effect here, surrounding this one with the columns, I loved. The Agora onto the roads, the storehouse, everything about that on the most northerly point of the whole block, I think looks brilliant at the moment. But here I'm checking the peddler, and right where I was missing those roadblocks. Oh, Poseidon attacks. Yeah, I was just talking about the triremes. He curses our trireme wharfs, and when the wharfs get cursed, unfortunately, there I am thinking about Star Trek again. Unfortunately, that stops the triremes from patrolling, so you have to manually keep redoing it, which is a real shame. There we get houses right alongside the other Agora. I can fix this up a little bit. Yeah, look at that. When I finish that little bit with the column, I'm holding the camera there specifically so that post-commentary me can talk about how good that looks up in that corner there. I adore it. So then the other game was culture. Now, you see I dumped a theatre up there. I do like to have at least one theatre in the town. So we got a theatre, again, also on the most northern corner, because what I'm going to try to do is put a drama school down here near this water fountain at some point. And the people that feed the drama school will hopefully hit all the exterior buildings for their culture. So with everything working out, and then, so one row will get the theatre guys, the other row will get stadium guys, right? So the south flank will get theatre, the north flank will get stadium. There's also the matter of water fountains, so I have a water fountain in each corner and a water fountain at the termination of the road down here as well. With infirmaries in each corner as well, on top of that. I think technically these houses right next to where I'm building this drama school, I think those houses might not actually have a healer, but there's such a low proportion of the total town's population, it's never going to cause plague. So yeah, we get attacked by the Maenads, so we get another hero, and that's what makes me realise that the quarry isn't working. So we finally fixed the quarry. I also noticed there's a little bit more copper ore bearing rock there, so we start melting that copper up into bronze. You need to mix copper with some... Is it copper ore mixed with what makes bronze? What is it, tin? I swear I've played it. Is it a Minecraft mod? What game is it I've played that has that as a part of its survival crafting element? You have to mix them together. Oh my god, it's Guild Wars! You get copper ore and you mix it with tin in Guild Wars to make bronze, don't you? I thought that was a survival crafting game. So just admiring the city here. Look, and I can see immediately a bunch of them have already gone to Townhouse, which is a great sign. Unfortunately, though, these lower guys still don't have the culture they need. So I add a podium and a gym up to this random seeming looking area. But with that, we know that there'll be stadium walkers, competitors that start going down there now, and that should be their final bit of evolution. And I'll give a college as well for the podium that's up there too, which gives us this nice little cultural bay, and helps us at the games, the Olympic Games and so on. The interior housing block now, if you've noticed, just had a bit of devolution because it's struggling for food. Not that we don't produce enough, but by adding these bonus granaries on the corner agoras, people have started depositing in those instead. So I'm just ramming the whole thing with even more dairies. More cheese for the people. And I realize, oh, we can make the pen bigger. And this is how it ends up right against the houses. By expanding, and we can expand this bit of the pen here as well for our sheep. So the sheep pen goes up to some houses. The goat pen goes up to some houses. Now, unfortunately, a couple of people haven't evolved. And now there's a bunch of sheep in the way for me to put beautification down. So I have to try and find a way to get a monument in there at some point. These guys also needed water. 2 houses on the very end, corner trick houses, needed water. So a fountain and an infirmary for this upper row here now. A bit of tax on the upper row as well. We could have ignored it, frankly. Since we have more than enough money, it might have been more satisfying to have left him. Here, I wanted maintenance for the infirmary that didn't compromise the block, but I didn't want to mess up the guy's patrol by occupying True North and creating a forced walker trick that means the infirmary would just be crap, right? So here we utilize this method again, where I have the road distant out. It looks like I want to avenue a boulevard, but I don't. That is exactly perfect as it is. The maintenance man will walk along it and will repair the infirmary over the gap, but because the road isn't pressed against the building, we're not going to mess with the healer's walking patterns. I want to start using the walkers' names more, by the way. Like, it's a healer, and it's a water carrier, you know, not just the infirmary guy. It's a healer. Back to the tax thing. I didn't tax the other 2 rows. So, I mean, these guys get gypped. But in exchange, hey, look, they have some fish ponds. They have nicer back gardens. You live near livestock, or you live with no tax, or you have the pools but tax. To be honest, I'd pick the livestock any day. Tax is awful. And I quite like livestock. Maybe it would smell a bit. Maybe it would be a bit annoying. Maybe there's a difference between visiting and seeing something on a hike versus actually living with it. I do acknowledge. Oh, and I gave these guys right down here some park. The granary still wasn't filling, so I put even more dairies. Dairies just creeping all the way along. I think that they're okay, though. Like, the shepherds at those dairies don't have too long of a walk to the pen, and they are right next to the granary there. So there you have it, guys. Repatrolling the triremes. The trade doesn't look that interesting, but, I mean, we haven't really got much to sell here. That's the town. I'm very proud of this place, and it was a nice stormy, 2-hour build session as the rain rapped against my window. Now, if you look, people are moving into these new rows, 1,500. And if you look, we have about 8,000 people in the town. So will we hit the 10K? I was waiting and watching with bated breath. I'll cut back now into live WP to see if we get there. Oh, it looks like we're going to make it. We're going to make it. 200 more people. It's going to be close. We might be like 30 away or something. I don't know. No. It's fine. We're like 30 above, actually. Here are 9,900. Population milestone, 10,000 people. More and more people are clamoring to call our city home. Our city now boasts a population of 10,000, a mark seen only by the most successful of cities. So they do. Wait, have they been giving us the same message for ages now? I don't think so. 10,000. You can mark this momentous occasion by building a commemorative monument. So, unfortunately, it's not like a special. It should be like super population or something. You know, I like the idea of all of these being population here. I probably already said that, didn't I? So there we go. So let's place that down. I guess the last thing to do here as well before we move on is let's actually summon Theseus in our sort of half-ruined... look, everybody loves us for that. Everybody loves us. We could also rebuild it. Wow, this is twice in a row now. 2 videos in a row where I've cut back in and I've decided... Oh, God, how did this actually work? Oh, I remember. It's because we had this. I've decided after cutting back in to fix the shambolic palace. There we go. So we can get this. And then why is the path there gone? I don't know. What did I do about that path? That's very odd. So we can do that and then get our watch posts back, our patrolmen for this courtyard. Well, so there we have it, guys. That is 2 hours of building at Olympia for 10,000 people living in the town. And, you know, just an absolutely ridiculous, mega dense block. That's not the end of the episode, though. There is one more thing that I want to show off, and it involves returning... So let's say here, Olympia thrives. God, I haven't saved for ages on that. Right, so let's head up to new adventure. And, well, let's be clear. Resume would take us to the save file we just had. Load save would bring up my ridiculous list of save files. Return to roster is just, okay, you're going to be Potatoes or not, all right? Adventures, we've seen here, is Zeus and Europa and so on, and then all the way down to the open plays. But then there is the tutorial button. And I know it seems really pointless and weird and irrelevant to do the tutorial, but actually this thing's amazing. And you're going to see a bunch of really weird different UI. And it will actually, basically they're going to pre-build cities for us, and we get to tour them and see how it looks. Already this screen is quite interesting to me with the... opaque background box framing some of these buttons. Like, you don't really see that anywhere else in the game. I think the concept art is slightly different back there. So I want to run through this. This is the end of base Zeus. You've seen everything. Now, genuinely, absolutely every pixel, every bit of dialogue, whatever I can find, except the tutorial, which they put a ton of effort into. And I guess that they put a ton of effort into this because, you know, it's so important for people to learn these games. It's funny, I don't actually remember how I learned how to play this. I don't remember playing this tutorial. I just remember being in free play a bunch. So did I just sort of work it out through tinkering long enough, or did I eventually do this? Because this is very wall of text heavy, and I think a younger version of me probably wouldn't have been so interested, since they don't actually voice act it. But that's okay, secretly, I think, because I quite enjoy Let's Playing, and I get to do the voices instead. So they're split in two. You've got beginner tutorials, and you've got advanced tutorials. It starts off with housing and people. So I love this. I skipped the tutorial at the start, and I said, I'll be your tutorial, and well, now here we are at the end. The last thing we're going to do is the tutorial, and for good reason, because it is cool. Here we go, so housing and people. So, to be honest, what I'm most interested in here is looking at the demonstrations they have for us, because this is like a whole weird mini campaign with different mechanics going on. But I guess we can read some of this. Welcome to the first Zeus tutorial. This is the gold screen where you'll receive basic instructions about how to build and manage cities in the Greek world. If they do it like flavorful with lore, it's definitely worth reading, I think. Anyway, this lesson has no specific goals, as indicated by the phrase open play. No episode goals above, or up here. To exit the screen, click your right mouse button. To return for further instructions, click the episode skull button, which is down here. So that teaches us how to, you know, move through it. So anyway, this is what they first give us. Now, you'll notice that the world map is locked off. You can't actually click this, which is something of a novelty to me. A bunch of the categories are locked off as well, which... You'd think in the actual adventures they could utilize this as well. You know, seeing, okay, I have no industry in chapter 1. I'll get industry in the later chapter. But I don't believe, unless it happened really early on in the Let's Play and I've forgotten about it already, I don't believe this ever comes up. But here it is in the tutorial. So we can build houses. We can build on their demonstrations, you know. And what we'll see here what we'll learn is that, you know, by putting a house down, people will come in. So the map itself as well, right? So we're on this little stretch of land here. There's some fish up there. You might wonder why. Well, I'll show you in a second. And then, you know, it extends out here. But basically, we're going to watch this evolve, but impressions are going to build it for us. And through that, we're going to get a sense of what impressions... What's amazing about this is the scale of things, okay? Look at the ridiculous scale I just showed you. But even rewind a bit before we were doing really complicated stuff. Look at my playthrough of Zeus and Europa. Look at my playthrough of Athens Through the Ages even. You know, when I put down carding sheds, I put down like a bunch at once, you know, and I've been trying to restrain myself and do less and less. Look at how restrained they are. First of all, their idea of a housing block is this. It's just a tiny little, like a corner shape, by the way, which we haven't been doing very much of. But it's just a couple of huts here, really. And they don't fill them in on all it. And I know this is a tutorial, so obviously it's not min-maxed. But watch this. So when we click new tutorial here, sorry, next tutorial, it will all advance. So producing food. Your people need to eat. The sea can be a bountiful source of food. In this tutorial, we provided a sample neighborhood which has working fishing industry and another neighborhood to its right which does not. You're going to add a fishing industry to the neighborhood that needs one, but first study how it works in the sample. Fishing boats sent out to sea from a fishery and return with fish, then the delivery men transport it from the granary. So step 1, catching fish, and you can see they've got these nice little icons here. The fishery, they've got a screenshot of what fish look like in the water. When you see a boat from your fishery fishing at the fishing spot, return here to continue. And then they talk a bit about storing food. They also talk about roadblocks here, which I'm kind of interested in what they have to say. As more road, because this was new for Zeus, I think, right? Because roadblocks were different in Pharaoh and Cleopatra, I think. As more roads are added to your neighborhoods, you may find that walkers, such as superintendents and water bearers, occasionally wander outside of your residential road loop. We should have been calling these residences, I guess. These roaming... Well, not really. These roaming walkers don't inherently know where you want them to patrol, but they can be guarded with roadblocks. You probably don't need to add any just yet, but you can place them to experiment. Notice the walkers with specific destinations. Ignore them. Okay, so yeah, let's check out the sample here. Right, so this is their housing block, and they have just 2 little fisheries here. You know, it's really quite sweet and nice and little. And look, you see the boats come in. Very smooth frames and animation here, by the way. This is really nice. And they have a single maintenance post. They deliver the fish up to the granary and whatever. Then it will get distributed. Actually, it won't get distributed. They have no agora or anything. I guess we're just showing off. And what they want me to do now is copy it, right? So a few more things have unlocked here. So we can, you know, we can copy it exactly. Which should be like this, I guess. I can't believe I'm actually playing this. I was just going to show you the towns. There you go. And then we would put a maintenance post there. Voila. We're the granary back here for them to deliver the food to. And this does take me back. I might have played this before. I don't know for sure, but I might have. There is a very simple pleasure with this game of just watching a building do its whole thing. You know, send the boat out. The boat comes back, unloads the fish, the fish goes into the granary. It's just very nice. I kind of take it for granted in recent episodes, but they have it. Okay, so next tutorial, we watch it evolve a bit more with the agora. And they explain all the agora mechanics for us here. So there's an agora, and they've evolved them into shacks. And now we have the peddler walking around.
What is it you wanted, Mrs. Pericles? Ah, yes, here you go.
Ah, yes, here you go. And we get some new dialogue, apparently.
A lot of people are down on their luck and out of work.
Are they?
The only room for these goods.
The only room for goods in this city. Okay, Mr. Ultra American sounding man. Culture and appeal. So as culture houses develop, they generally need more people. They generally hold more people. Developing it is a better way to grow your population than simply building more houses. For houses developed beyond mere shacks, residents need some cultural diversions. In the sample neighborhood, a college trains professors who then proceed to a podium to speak. Roaming philosophers that emerge from the podium, teaching philosophy to any houses that they pass. So we can see it's evolved a bit more now. They've got some random parks around. College over here, podium over here, a couple of benches that they've put in, flower garden in the very middle of the housing block. They're still not utilising all this space for all these houses here, you'll notice. And then, of course, we would copy their design over here on the left. Then we have hygiene and safety, and they only introduce us hygiene and safety after we've gone as far as food and culture, which is kind of curious to me. Here's what they say about unrest and plague. Things aren't always going to be fine and dandy. Many of the things you'll need to do as a leader can make you unpopular and create unrest among your people. Well, is that really true? The game's fairly easy as far as that's concerned. Though, obviously, we've had our issues with unrest as we've gone along when I've messed up. Also, as a city becomes crowded, plague is more likely to strike, and it can strike anywhere. See, their description of plague there is more like what I would expect the mechanic to be. Like an event that can just come out of nowhere. But, hey. I guess, I don't know. Are they expecting us to have less general health all the time? So yeah, assessing unrest. The former leader of this city paid low wages, generating a lot of unrest here. To assess it, click the See Unrest tab. What does that actually do here? So let's see. So, hygiene and safety, see unrest. Yeah, there's loads of unrest here. Unrest extremely high, no unrest though for these guys. So the point is, build some watch posts that will fix these guys up. In fact, do we have a sample? So the map's changed here, by the way. Oh no, the map hasn't changed. We've just moved along, I guess. No, the map's definitely changed, right? It's still the same general idea. Eventually, we are able to click the world map for what it's worth. Here, we've got some fisheries way out in the corner here now. And so, yeah, there's a little bit of hygiene issue here. They're teaching us about this, even though these guys have evolved. Oh, I see. I think these guys are really happy. These guys are less so, and these guys are even less so. Next tutorial, they show us goods for housing. So this will be fleece, producing fleece, and distributing fleece. So this is the whole fleece setup here. And we watch how it evolves. So they left this space for a watch post and an infirmary. This guy doesn't quite have the appeal to evolve, but they've left that. That's nice. And then, look, one carding shed. One carding shed. Now, they've maxed out the amount of livestock for the carding shed. But this is right, though, you know. Like, this will easily deal with a block this size and then some. And it's just so humble and small and sweet, you know. 2 fisheries, 1 carding shed. And I just, with all the parks and stuff around, too. I think here they've done something quite good. It's Flower Garden Park, Flower Garden, 2x2 park there. And this is what started to inspire me to put more parks and things down beyond what you necessarily need. And then obviously we have this version over here where they've surrounded the infirmary by park, and we've got all this park up around near the agora, and all the colours of all the food in the food vendor. With the colours of the parks behind also looks like it just fits really well. Oh, I got to show you guys as well. Do we have all appeal? Yeah, we do. We don't have it. Look, one of the column types works perfectly with bench. You see this bench here? In one of the super speed sections in one of these bonus videos, I was desperately trying to show it off, but there was too much going on. Basically, if you put ionic column, which is white and blue, next to a bench, they work so perfectly. Maybe I can show you that as we go along. There we go. So that's fleece. Then I'm sure they'll show us oil. Olive oil is needed and is produced by a 2-step process. They don't really give me more of a sense of what they're using the oil for beyond, I guess, just cooking. So yeah, grow olives and then press the olives. It's interesting we can't feed our people the olive, but then they'll become apartments. So here, we're at the apartment stage, and they're going to want culture and a bit more appeal, or a new type of culture, obviously. Because here they don't have any stadium stuff going on. So they've got philosophy, they've got gyms, but they don't have theatres or a stadium situation. So yeah, and look, just 2 olive presses. Here I think we get a good sense of the ratios. And actually in my gameplay, this is kind of what I've come to in the end as well. 1 grower's lodge. For how many trees did they put down here? Like quite a lot of trees. That's maybe... I mean, what is that? Is that 15 trees? Something like that? 1 grower's lodge, about 15 trees, and she's keeping them all well tended to. And then just 2 presses for this one thing. And that seems to be a balance that they believe in. So I think the 2-to-1 ratio is what we want to aim for with this. And it's funny, if you play the tutorial first, you go into the whole game armed with that general vibe, that is your baseline. And some of these things will just be implicit knowledge to you. You wouldn't expect to have to do anything else. But yeah, it's just quiet. You hear the birds chirping, and when you have less buildings, the audio engine is not going so insane as well, which also contributes to the game feeling pretty good. And then we have this neighborhood here, which we're supposed to be evolving by putting our own olive oil stuff down. Next, we have to build a city. So this is the final basic one, I think. Tutorial, build a city. Now's your chance to build your first small city from scratch. Also, while prior lessons have been open play with no specific goals, now you'll need to achieve a very specific goal within your city, and that's to get 50 people in an apartment. So, when we embark upon a full-fledged adventure in Zeus, it will usually be divided into phases called episodes when you complete them. If you think you're already familiar with it enough, you can skip ahead and go do an adventure. So, and then they remind us of everything that we have here. All these icons here. Which is quite cool. So, yeah, and then it's the same map, but it's just totally empty now, and they're saying, okay, go build it. Go do everything you've learned. And this would be a moment, I think, when you're new to the game, you think, oh, shit, what do I do? Oh, God, I gotta put everything into practice. This is like exam session, you know? Next tutorial, we move into the advanced now. So, they'll start doing much more elaborate stuff. We'll start looking at mythology and things here. So, welcome to the first advanced tutorial. If you've done the beginner ones... so if you're familiar with the basic town, so it's teaching us about category tabs, which we already know, and it gives us an overview, and you can right-click any of them. Special city views, so that's the buttons at the top. By the way, I noticed, right, if you look at the map, if we go to, say, distribution and see distribution, look at the mini-map. It changes the colours to, like, purple. So I guess purple is showing these are all houses with all of their distribution done. I never realised that it had different map modes. You know, that's another function of this game's UI that we hadn't really been playing with or looking at. I mean, it's technically been there in all the footage. I've just never called attention to it. Anyway, so what have they got here? So the map layout is now totally different. This is another new map. I'm determined to show you guys every single map in this game. In fact, we're coming up to the end now. Even the unique, weird bonus tutorial ones. So there you go. So that's these ones here. Here we've got a bronze that's being imported and then sculpted up. And look, they have park down by these fisheries and near this trading. They don't need it, but they put the park there anyway, which is nice. It's funny actually that what's this? Maintania needs marble. Dearest Potatoes, I Xenophon of Maintania. Maintania? Weird. It's like a fake, strange town. We don't even have a world map. Whoa. In fact, yeah, who are we trading with? This is a pier to Cyprus. And this is a trading post to Maintania. Wow. So we can fulfill their request here with the marble. Where are we getting the marble from, by the way? Did I just say, where's the quarry? Tiny little cute little quarry here. Oh my god, an earthquake strikes this map. That's awesome. I didn't know that. Ah! And it snipes the infirmary. You'll notice there were no natural disasters in any of the open play stuff. So with the infirmary broken now, we can't do anything. Oh, I could show you that the trick to fix these. So fireballs from heaven. Right, so we got the fireballs. So you fire a fireball down here. It says you shouldn't be able to click, but you can. Throw fireballs on earthquakes, like so. And this is obviously a cheat. You have to go to the cheat menu to even get to this. But now it's become generic rubble. When you clear the rubble, voila, you fix the earthquake. So if you guys are really in a tight bind, that's something you could do. You could also do the delete undo trick, obviously, as well. But, you know, if you wanted to clear all this away, get all your space back. Now, it's definitely something we could have done in a couple of adventures, but, you know, it's not in the spirit of the game. Yeah, what else is there to remark on? They have 2 benches near this gym. I like that. Another bench near this watch post. And it's funny. There's not much here, and yet the city feels so alive to me, you know. And it just makes me realise the scale we've... This is really cool here as well. I've been doing a lot of this. Carding and dairies and stuff off the meadow, and then they let them wander up onto it at the top of the mountain. And then a little bit of quarrying there. All right, next advanced tutorial is about trade, I suppose. We know all about trade, so that's fine. Where are they trading here? We're on another new map. Oh my god, I think we are. Are we? Is this another new map? No. This is the same one, because here's the quarry, but nobody's actually quarrying anymore. Oh, I think they want us to set it up. They've given us the demonstration, and now they want us to set up. It's the same place, it's just got less going on here. Yeah, they've basically kicked us up. So this is something I find interesting as well. In other games that I've played, like strategy games that I've played, usually they'll have scenarios where, so like in Command & Conquer, this will be a thing. You'll start a mission and already a bunch of stuff will be built. I know a part of the joy is base building, but I think when designers engage in that, they can do a lot more fun things. Start me with a city and blow it up with an earthquake, why not? Now, throughout this entire Let's Play, we have seen Zeus never does that. You know, they ask you to make a new colony over and over and over again, and you never just load in and like a basic setup is done for you already like this. They don't do it. And I think that's a mistake. I guess that they decided not to do that because, look at this maintenance post, by the way. He gets all this stuff. I guess they decide, and they've done parks around the Agora again. They really like this, don't they? I guess they decided to do that because it takes the freedom away from the players Like, they want you to be able to do more. But, I don't know. I think it could add a lot of texture to the adventures and the scenario design. And it's a bit of a shame that they don't do that, actually. So, I don't know. Maybe you guys have different opinions about that. There we go. Look, and all of this is done with just these tiny little bits of appeal here. Here in the tutorial, like, I was wondering, maybe it's not even possible in the game engine. Maybe they just can't do it. But here the tutorial shows that it can be done. So, next we have, just to get a yearly profit from selling. That's what we had to do there. And now, we have open play about the palace. So, citizen soldiers, though you can't build a standing army, your ordinary citizens will fight to defend as rabble. Those from the lowest strata of society, known as rabble, armed only with rocks to throw at the enemy. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to call your people to arms and command them into battle. So, yeah, then they teach us this. Do they actually simulate an attack from us as well? Just to interrupt here, I'm interested in the fact that even in the tutorial, they don't have real information about the actual difference between defensive, offensive, and spatial tactics in terms of when you'd use one or the other. Though I've used them all in abundance, I haven't really been able to get a grip on exactly the difference between what they're doing differently. And as far as Google's concerned, I can only find one discussion of people talking about it on Game FAQs 15 years ago with 2 responses where one guy says you should use the defensive stance while waiting for enemies to come and then swap into the attack stance afterwards. But he doesn't elaborate on why he thinks you should do that. Of course, for special tactics, we do know that using that on an open field will allow them to kite enough that you can kill monsters that, you know, through over really, really long periods of time, though it hasn't been demonstrated in the series yet. As for the other two, I mean, I really don't know. Or do we just have to... Well, where is our palace here? Let's have a look. Looking on the mini-map. Oh, they didn't give me a palace. I have to build the palace first, do I? Administration. Yeah, they want us to put a palace down. I wonder if it's scripted that when I put a palace down and I give it some maintenance and I summon some rabble, will they send an invasion at me? Because I need something to fight, obviously. Oh, here you go. An army of rival Greeks will invade your city in 7 months. That's awesome. That is so cool. I'd love to, like, put this on, like, hard mode tutorial and see how it goes. Employees needed. Yeah, let's take out the tutorial fight. 7 months. They give us ages. 6 months. Let's rotate all the companies at once, because that might be fun in some way. By the way, here's a nice touch. When I'm actually holding the guy, the flag waves. I think I might have mentioned that a long time ago. Okay, Nemea launches invasion. Oh, we could bribe them away in the tutorial. No, fight to defend. Okay, hold on. Something just occurred to me that I have to try. What? Yeah, you could bribe them away. What if we surrender in the tutorial when they invade? So I just booted the game back up to edit this little sequence in here. Is it possible to game over the tutorial? Do they have some special new information? Well, here we go. If I surrender the first time, we do get vassalized. It's Nemea attacking us, by the way. So on the little world stage here, we are now a vassal within the tutorial, and they want 100 drachma, which is almost nothing, and a very low amount. I wonder, did someone at Impressions actually have to assign this for the fringe case that someone loses in the tutorial? I assume they did. I was like, oh my god, okay, if there's going to be another attack, will they conquer us for good? And indeed, they do actually have a second attack. I'll just skip forward to it. Nemea out to destroy us. We surrender. Failure! So long, Potatoes, an enemy army has trounced you for the second time. Thoroughly trounced you for the second time. They have ousted you. Yeah, you can game over in this mission. There's no special dialogue. Where are they, though? I assume they're going to come down this path, but maybe not. Nemeans? No, that's a trade ship. Hello? Are they going to come from this road over here? This is quite elaborate as well. Usually the entrance trade and exit trade are really close to each other, but on this map, they worm around a lot of stuff. As long as we're near the palace, we're fine, right? Because they're going to be going to the palace. Oh, it's all the way up here on the top right.
My grandmother could defeat that army.
Oh, wow, new dialogue.
You call that an invasion?
My grandmother could defeat that army.
Oh, wow, could they? This game's got a lot of dialogue, but I'm beginning to believe too much of it is hidden. So there's a horseman coming through. We might fail this. We might lose at the tutorial, because we've got to intercept him somehow. Go on, hit him. That's it. Employ special tactics. Kite away if you can. They're so not kiting away. Go on, throw rocks, guys. I really hate this thing where they don't throw their goddamn rocks. Rotate company so that maybe they all fight. Oh, that's a good use of the rotate company button. It seems to actually make them attack when they weren't before. Or if they were before. There you go. Invasion defeated. There we go. Nice. So that's that tutorial. The Warrior Society. Elite Warriors. So now they're going to show us how to set up elite housing. And I just want to tour the cities here. So look, they've left us some plots that we can put these down, and we've got all the stuff stockpiled for them. So here's their idea of an elite housing neighborhood. Palace with it, as you can see. I guess because of the military connection, they're trying to think of that. And also, you know, it's just supposed to be the good bit of the city. All their culture buildings are up here. Feeders up here. And then receivers down here. So they've already done a really cool thing, which I've done on a couple of colonies here, where the drama school walks through the elite neighborhood to the theater in the commoners area, and the podium and the college feeds the podium, right? So that is definitely the idea of how the game is made. They want you to have colleges that travel through elite neighborhoods to then teach the commoners. That's what it's simulating, right? And then those guys evolve. Here we just have a bunch of bays of random stuff, which I assume we got from trading with Maintainia. And the pier to Cyprus is gone. So yeah, they just evolve it a little bit more here. Moving on, we have mythology. The gods of Greece crave the worship of mortals like you and can offer you many things in return for your devotion. And they're going to ask us to build some stuff. So here's another form of elite house. They've done a mixed housing block here. Look at this. This is a mixed housing block. Where the bottom half of the ring is commoners stuff with a simple agora here. And the upper half of the ring is elites. Now, I'm interested in this. How have they got armor to the elites? Because these are only regular... Oh, I see. No, this is a grand agora with armor there. So there you go. You can see armor and wine, actually. So yeah, they put a grand agora. Technically, I think this extra agora is not needed at all. But they have an interesting little road here. Look at this. This is not actually a block. This is like... Oh, it is a block. That's a T shape again. Ah, look on the inside here. Please excuse my friend. He means to say L shape, not T. Oh, that is cool. So yeah, this Grand Agora is just coming up and twisting and then returning and coming back. It's doing this. And then they have an actual block, like a little curved block. See, I haven't built anything like this in the whole LP. Look, and here, instead of using a road block, they put a bit of park.
He's in much better shape.
Oh, wow, that guy had different dialogue. So yeah, and then there's not space for a plot there, but there could have been, but I guess they've overly beautified or whatever. And then we have our armor. And look at this, one armory. That's all they've done. 3 olive presses, 1 armory, 1 sculpture studio. It's just all so humble and small, and the scale is just so different, you know? Here's a single dairy. A single dairy! I mean, clearly that's not a real working town. Don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. Mind you, they've got 2 here, so maybe it is actually 3 dairies for all of this. There is an idea of a mini town, by the way. There's a schematic I've seen online. Again, on the Zeus Heaven website, which is just fantastic. Where a guy's like, here's the entire city, by the way, and it's like tiny. An entire city, including elites and commoners, not too dissimilar from this. But even smaller. Anyway, there you go. So, next. So, they were talking to us about mythology there, but there wasn't actually any mythology, I suppose. So, in this tutorial, they want us to create wine. And to set goods aside. But here we have a Colosseum with another mini housing block. They love these, like, little corner shapes, right? The little corner housing blocks. They do a lot of those. Fish pond. This is actually very close to what we saw a minute ago. And here, look, olive presses surrounded by parkland. This is not something I was doing in these free plays, in this trilogy of bonus videos, but I've been doing stuff like it. That looked like a gravestone to me for a second there. That would be cool, wouldn't it, as well? Like little graveyard pieces you could do. Or maybe a graveyard would actually have a mechanical function. It wouldn't be beautification. But the Colosseum in the middle, of course, because they want us to evolve these all very well. And I think the next one's the final one. Oh, no, there's this one as well with peace and war. So politics and diplomacy, diplomatic status, interacting with other cities, conquest. Look at all this to read. Look at this. Conducting raids, plundering, making demands. So we now are on the world map. And so technically the tutorial city is Megara. Okay? So in our long list of cities that we're trying to remember, of parent cities, Megara is the parent city for the tutorial. Okay? So when you're tested on it later, try to remember Megara. Don't forget to commit to your mind the free play ones, which was Larissa. I almost forgot it there. Mount Malia and Olympia, and now Megara here as well. And here, look, Halicarnassus is on the side. Maintainia is there, and Nemea. So that's for us to mess around with that stuff. Did they really change this very much? I don't think that they did. It's funny, if you get stuck on one tutorial, you could skip to the next and see how they've evolved the town themselves to have an idea of how it works. And then here we go. So, tutorial. Open play, no episode goals, the wonders of Greece. This is the final tutorial. Here you'll find a large, prosperous city for you to explore and study, complete with sanctuaries, dedicated to Apollo and to Ares. Ares will patrol the streets, accompanied by his fearsome dragon, and you may consult the Oracle of Apollo to see into the future. There are no goals in this lesson, no pressure to move on. You may want to return to it often to see how a certain industry works, or to peruse the interface. You'll even find advice below, based on the experience of other leaders who have come before you. Hints and tips: suck up to your neighbors, give them gifts, butter up your rivals. This phrase, butter up your rivals, in the official guides the Impressions released that used to be on their website and now are hosted in other places online, they always use this phrase, butter. The guides that I've been referring to as we've gone through the Let's Play, they always say butter up, butter up, butter up. There is no butter, guys! Oh, I get it. It's a turn of phrase, obviously. I'm also happy to imagine that even though cheese is the actual item that comes out of dairies, maybe some small proportion of butter comes out of them as well. See into the future, pray to the gods, listen to your people, lay out roads carefully, decrease walker travel distance, use foresight, pace yourself. This is the one that I have a issue with. I need to learn this. Use a tutorial, WoodenPotatoes. It says to pace yourself. You wouldn't be having fires if you paced yourself. And plague. Using culture venues. Watch your money. Export, export, export. This is a big tip here. Shift labor, we've used a few times. Send your trireme workers home, we've talked about. Protect your palace. Move your entire military. So here they teach you about the click to scroll. There is, by the way, still a mechanic on how you can control your army using control and the number keys that I want to show you guys. Leave standards out in the field. Just leave them there and then muster later. We've been doing that. Working with earthquake cracks, well, you can build over them with roads. We struggled with that because I kept trying to put water crossings on them, but it's roads. But anyway, here we go. What I really wanted to show off was, look at, this is their sample town here. So you've got Ares, and you can move his standard, and you can summon his people and stuff. I wonder what Apollo does tell you in the tutorial. Let's see, the Oracle. The Oracle has nothing to predict. Oh, well done, Impressions. You tell me to do that, and then it's nothing. But, yeah, so 2 sanctuaries right up near housing blocks. And see, this is the thing I like. Ares roams with the elites. Apollo roams with the commoners. And this is kind of nice, since Apollo's whole thing is plague and stuff, you know, and plague can strike them, but not him. And Ares' old thing is war. So look, you've got the dragon and Ares roaming amongst these guys. Infirmary as far away as possible from the commoners. Tax as far away because these are negative appeal. Then you've got all 3 3x3 culture buildings together, which is a nice touch. Personally, I would have swapped the gym and the drama school, but maybe this has a nicer effect in terms of colour. But you can see all the 3x3 things work together very well at the end of an elite neighbourhood. A monument to help them out. They're all fully evolved. They're getting horses from this full Grand Agora. Bunch of parks and things to fill in dead space. And so then we have the production area. A single horse ranch for 6 houses. So that's a good ratio to know as well. 1 horse ranch for 6. Seems good. 4 wineries for 2 growers' lodges. Again, that's the 2 to 1. And here, look, the winery. Oh, I think we're being invaded by a god. Whoa, what happened? What? There was a Cyclops here for half a second, and it auto-died. Look at that, there's a Cyclops in the tutorial. Oh, the trivia you're getting. Wow. You know what? Apollo probably teleported to that and instantly sniped it. It would have been the same thing as we had before. He would have defended us, which is a shame. I would have also liked to see the dragon try its hand. I did not know that. Anyway, here. Look at their vineyard. Finally, last thing. This is why I changed the style of my vineyards. Because I saw how they were doing it in the tutorial when I was like, I'm going to do a tutorial episode. Let's have a look at it. I was reading ahead, getting ready, setting my notes up for the LP. Look at that! And I've been trying to produce this effect. So they do park between the double columns and then 2x2 parks on the outside. Man, that's good, isn't it? 2 growers' lodges only as well for that. 4 wineries. 1 of each of these again. Where's our foundry? We import the bronze, I think. There's a trireme here, but they've sent the people home, which is something that I, Oh, it's just standing down? Oh, so if I stop them standing down... Oh, with the crew all button. Oh, that's what I messed up. We use crew all, like with towers. Oh, look at that. And when you click it, it actually goes back to dock. That's awesome. They needed more naval combat in this game, though. None of the scenarios have done enough with it. Like, we've had some small opportunities, but I haven't had the experience yet where I've set a bunch of guys up to patrol. They've defended the waterways, and then I've sent them home afterwards and stuff. I've not used these buttons to the extent that we could have, because there's just not been... It's not been there, you know, and we've been playing on the hardest difficulty. Oh, they would not rotate for some reason. There you go, they're rotating now. That's good. Okay, so there you go. So that's the town. And then down here with the commoners, stadium again in the middle. Pretty much already looked at this. A little bit more industry and fishing. So here you can see, they do go with a lot of food here. Look at all this food. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a lot of fisheries here. But, so there you go. Some impressions endorsed town building. And yeah, I guess they coded this earthquake in it. It just landed a second ago off screen up here on the top of the town. It didn't hit anything, though. The only other place that you can get this from is those promotional screenshots of the game from before it came out, which also gives you a hint as to how the developers liked it to be played or thought of it being played and stuff, which I think is just infinitely interesting. Look at this, Apollo. I missed this while I was talking. Apollo just sanctified the Colosseum, the stadium. I guess that ups our rates to win the games. So it's probably not an accident that Impressions built the stadium here in the middle of everything. They wanted it here to be near Apollo so that he'd sanctify it. I haven't built any towns like that. We should do that. If we're going to build Apollo again at some point in the future, we should have him doing that. You know, I've seen a few Let's Plays from devs, like years later, 20 years later, they'll Let's Play the game that they made, and it's always really interesting. But even if I think Impressions employees did their own Let's Play of this now, which I would devour and watch instantly, don't get me wrong, but even if they did it, we wouldn't quite know how they would have made the cities originally, you know, what they really had in mind, because they would have had 20 years of community influence just like everyone else has, you know. And I'm sure they'd go really big and their designs would end up, you know, a lot more structured. But this is nice. Look at this housing block here as well, with a fish pond in the middle. I would never do this because I would always be thinking, well, more houses. But no, they put a fish pond there, and it's just such a nice touch, you know. So throughout these 3 bonus videos, and since free play is so easy, that's kind of, this is what inspired me. This is what made me want to build this way. And so there you have it, guys. That is the tutorial. And it's all over now. That's it. That's the end of Zeus. Or is it? Okay, so everything I've been saying, you may have noticed at the end of these recent videos. I've kept saying, oh, we'll do this later. We'll do this later. We'll do this later. But you're at the end, WoodenPotatoes. What do you mean? Well, actually, no. If you remember, when we finished the Trojan War at the end of Olympus, I said we're going to do a trilogy of bonus videos, and then I'll be back for something else and something very special. That's right. You may also remember me talking about how it'd be kind of cool to see a sequel to a straight-up storyline. You've heard me talking about Ithaca a bunch for some reason. Well, the time for this stuff has come. One more big adventure. There is a button we haven't clicked yet. It's this one, Custom Adventures. This was not here at the launch of Zeus in October 2000. You know, let's pretend we're North American and that. I think that was their release date. So join me next time, February 2001, where we will see essentially a DLC for Zeus. And again, it's not Poseidon, it's not Atlantis. Those won't be bonus videos. They will be that will be like one last big adventure for us as regular videos. So I'll see you guys for that next time. Thank you very, very much for watching, and take care now. Yep, no bonus section this time. We're basically out of stuff, but other things are happening. You'll see next time.